today I want to show you a couple things. What I'll start out doing is I just want to show you, we just got a whole bunch of chroma glazes and some new candy coats. So I thought just for fun, I would swatch those out so you could see what they look like dry. They are so pretty. So I want to just show you those really quick. Okay, so we're going to start out, I'll show you first the candy coat. So candy coat started out with the pink and the teal. I don't know if you can see all of the beautiful shine that it comes with. I don't know if comes with is the right word, but you know what I'm saying. I'm going to turn this light on just to capture the shine, and then I'll turn it off again because it kind of washes out my projects when I'm doing it. But I think this shows the shine better in the candy coat. Okay, so it comes in pink and yellow and green and teal and purple now. And you can see all these little flakes of shimmer. They're kind of like a iridescent, like a cellophane or something that's in there. Really cool. I think it's basically what the shimmer flakes are made out of. So then I also swapped out.
Christopher said, "Yeah, I'd love to have Emma's pink named after my niece."
Oh, I wondered. Oh, Emma's pink is the glitter glaze, right? Is that also the candy coat? I know that the glitter glaze is, and guess what? We're using that today too. So this is all the chroma glazes now. I am so happy that these are back. These are one of my very favorite things. And look at how vibrant and beautiful these colors are. These are all dry. And you can see they kind of have a shine to them.
Ivy says hello.
Hi, Ivy. I purposely kind of went thick on one side and thinned it out so that you could kind of see kind of the opacity. Oh, okay, just the glitter glaze. I just wanted to make sure I was not missing something because that's always possible. But these are beautiful colors. Look at all of these bright, luscious, they look tasty. They're just really pretty colors. So I wanted you to see all of these. There's coral, yellow, lime, teal, purple, red, green, blue, orange, and pink. Okay, loving that color, that coral. This is like one of my favorite colors anyway. But honestly, look at all of them. You can't pick a bad one. They're all beautiful. So I just wanted to show you those really quick. We're not even going to use those ones today, but they're so pretty. I just thought you had to see them all dried. Okay, so today what we are going to use is we are going to use these really beautiful layered stencils that were released in the spring release. I do actually,
to the right a little bit, Shannon.
To the right, more into the white square.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I do actually have the lilac one as well, but I've used it quite a bit. I know I've made at least 3 samples with that, and so I thought that I would give you something new to look at. If you do want to see those, you can go onto the Brutus Monroes site, and if you just put in lilac layered stencils, you'll see at least 3 projects made with them. So these ones, who did?
Robin.
Hi, Robin. How are you doing today? So this one is the Peony, and this one is the Tulip. And I thought it'd be fun to just kind of step you through the process of creating with these beautiful stencils. So let's start out with the Peony. Now, I don't know if it's like gospel what you have to start with, but I'm going to start out with the leaves and do what works for you. I mean, really, that's kind of the rule of thumb, in my opinion, for crafting anyway, is, do the rules and then you'll know how to break them. Isn't that what they say? Learn all the rules so that you know how to break them. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, Christopher, I know you're watching, so this is true confession time. I have the stick and stamp mat, but I totally killed mine before I knew exactly all of the instructions. And so I'm actually, what was that? Okay, I'm actually going to make a video for everyone as soon as those come back in stock that will show you how to care for your mat. So my mat is my original mat is going to be my before and what not to do. And then once I get my new one, I can show you how to properly care for your mat. Okay? All right, so I'm going to use, this is Pixie tape. And this is what I'm going to use today for our stencils. And this works really great. I'm not sure, but I think it probably replaced their purple tape. If they still have purple tape, I apologize. I could be mistaken. But this tape is awesome for just this kind of a project. What was that?
Everything's in the collection link.
Everything is in the links. Okay, so I'm going to line this stencil up. I purposely wanted to keep this really user-friendly and simple. So I chose a corner. Yes, I taped it wrong the first time. The other one's going to go up this way. But this one, for the Peony, I'm going to tape it at the bottom right-hand or left-hand corner. I'm just going to move my mat over a little bit more. There. I'm wondering how many things are going to fall off my table if I do that. Okay. And let's put one more up in the corner. And we'll start out with our leaves, okay? So I'm going to use some Simon Hurley ink. I've got Overzealous and Fake Plant, and we will start out using our Overzealous. And the way I do it, I typically, my brushes, I've got one for green, one for certain colors. I don't have one for dark green and one for light green. So what I'll do, because I want to use my light green first, is I'm just going to use it as it is right now, to kind of clean it out of anything that's on it. Because chances are the last color I used was probably the darker green, the Fake Plant. So I don't want to, I don't want to put both inks on the same too much. Like I don't want the darker one in my lighter ink pad. But I don't think it would make a huge difference, but let's just play it safe, right? So I kind of clean it out first and start with that darker, whatever's in my, sorry, I didn't say that very well. I start with whatever's in my brush. Okay, so I think we've pretty much got that. We can add our Overzealous color now. And this is just kind of a fun, limey, warm green. I love it. It definitely has a spring feel to it. And I just love spring. Spring is just, makes me feel rejuvenated. I don't know about you guys, but oh my goodness. I should mention the paper underneath is just 5.5 by 5.5. We're going to end up making a 6x6 card, square card, but we're going to cut this image out anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but that's, if you're trying to do this the same way that I do, that's what I started with, was the 5.5 by 5.5. The one nice thing I really like about this particular layering stencil is I love that the green leaves on this one, for the bottom one where you've got the biggest part of the leaves, is all on one stencil, so you don't have to try to mask it off. It's good, you know, we do have the option to mask, and we will be masking a lot today, but this one is just nice and simple because we don't need to really mask it. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm going to use some of my Fake Plant to just give our leaves a little bit of depth. So I'm mostly just staying close to the base of the leaves. And I'm talking a lot. I'm sorry. Have I missed any conversation I should have been quieter for?
No.
I do want to thank you, Darren, as always, for moderating.
Earlier, but
What was that?
you did say stunning colors about all the glazes and stuff earlier.
Oh, Tina, I know. Aren't they beautiful? We have so many fun glazes. Those candy coat ones are a lot of fun. Always new and exciting things coming around. Okay, look at how much depth that gave that. Just that really simple, easy step. And it looks like you did something really tricky and really fancy, but you saw how easy it was. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna wipe that off. I'll clean it better later, but I just like to kind of get the most of it off. So we'll just kind of unhinge our tape a little bit. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take, I think we'll do this one next. This one is actually probably meant to go last, but I like using it next because I'm using my darker inks and I can finish off my leaves and then mask them off. But this is where you're gonna get your fine details. And like I said, we're actually gonna use this now and then we're gonna put it back on and you'll see why. So I'm using some distress ink for this. This is called Barn Door. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this layer next is because I wanted the lighter colors that are going to be on this one to kind of blend into and soften the darker layer. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's see. Making sure I have all the right. Yep, okay. So this one, like I said, it's called Barn Door. Okay, so we're just going to go over this one. Now, you probably want to grab something like I use. You can use the Pixie tape. I also have always got some Post-its handy because they're just quick and easy to just kind of mask off our leaf bits. Let's just stick those in there before I go any further on that. I was ready to just jump right in there. You saw me. I was about to just do the whole thing. Got so excited. So have any of you guys not tried layering stencils before? Let's see. Let's just do that. Flower after. We'll concentrate on one area at a time. Let's just do this one for right now. Then we'll move our masks around. Did anybody respond to that?
Not yet.
Not yet? You guys are all experts. So I hadn't done a lot of layering stencils until this past year, and I am really loving them. They sure do give you a lot of variety and a lot of versatility in your stenciling. Now we'll just move that way.
Nicole says aye.
Well, hi, Nicole. How are you doing? Hope you're having a nice Wednesday afternoon. Okay. So we've got all of our flowers done. I'm going to move these for, well, you know what? I'm going to leave them on long enough to kind of wipe off our stencil because we don't want to wipe any of our...
All types of stencils and such that I teach and vary every one, but I'll keep trying.
Who said that?
She sucks at them.
Who said that?
Robin.
Oh, Robin. They can take a little practice for sure. I definitely think you have to think outside of your norm, but I doubt that you suck at it. Okay, I think we got enough of that off that I'm comfortable going on to our stems. So now for the stems, because they're such skinny little lines, I'm just going to use one of these what are these called? Detail inkers? What are these called? I can't remember. Detail something. They're by Ranger. They are available on the site, and they are included in the link that Darren is providing with all the products that we use today. If you click on that link, you'll be able to see everything that I use.
Vicky says many years ago she used layering stems, but not recently.
Oh, Vicky, they are really cool. There's a lot of really cool ones out there right now. And I love these floral ones. They are just absolutely beautiful.
Kelly said this is a great stencil.
Isn't it pretty? I think so too. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, so let's kind of mask that off so that we can get to our little details easily. And like I said, these little, I know Simon Hurley loves these little inker things.
Detailed daubers?
Detailed daubers. Thank you, Darren.
That was Tina.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you for letting me know. It makes sense that that's what they would be called, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember for sure. Okay, so that one's done. I'm wondering if I missed anything else. There we go. No, I think we're okay. So now we'll just add our mask back on for a second. These lives are good practice for me because I'm typically kind of a slow crafter. I enjoy the process and I just take my time. But this is a good way for me to learn how to pick up the pace a little bit. I don't have to take that long to do everything I do. You can see it just filling in those little gaps really, really easily and quickly. And I think we just have one up here, and then I think we'll have that. Oh, we have a couple up here. But we are getting there, right? So that one's done. And our last little bit of this particular stencil. Like I said, I kind of like the Post-its just because you can move them around really easily and quickly. They're just user-friendly. And I don't feel bad when I throw them away. And you can get a couple of uses out of them each time. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. But I will...
Nicole said that's a great idea for the sticky notes.
Oh, thanks, Nicole. So one thing I am going to do is I am going to clean my stencil because like I said before, we are going to replace this after we do the next layer. So let me just move this out of the way. Okay. And then I'm just going to spray my microfiber cloth. I probably should have had you put that on the list. I don't know that it's in stock right now. Last I checked it wasn't, but a lot of things have come into stock. So I would check it out if you're interested in it. But this little cloth gets a lot of mileage from me and it works really great. Darren, you are awesome. Thank you. Okay, so now we're ready to replace our our panel that we're working with. And now we can just put that last layer on. Oops, you got to make sure you've got them going the right way.
Dawn asked, will you be doing an Easter demonstration?
I certainly can. I certainly can do some Easter. We did a lot of Easter last month with the bunny hugs. So definitely check out the Brutus Monroes channel to see some of the things that we did if you haven't seen those already. Pretty close. Close enough anyway. And now we'll just get that kind of anchored down. And you can see you get a lot of use out of this Pixie tape. Now, I'm going to put that there because I have a little bit exposed there. And this is another one, like I said, like the leaves, where you don't have to tape off the leaves. So it's kind of a nice, easy going one. And blender brushes, I did want to mention, are really great with these kind of stencils because a lot of these are really intricately designed. So these are a little more gentle, I think, to work with on your stencil. So we're going to start out with Saltwater Taffy. This is a new color that just came out, and it is available on the Brutus Monroes site. It's really pretty. I love this color. It's kind of this light coral. I'm just going to lightly ink that. And it's going to soften up our other layer a little bit. And I'm good with that. I kind of like that. If you don't want it to soften up, if you want to, you can layer them the other in a different order than that. But like I said, I kind of wanted it to soften the other parts.
Robin says, wish they would come up with a package of rainbow microfiber cloths. It would make cleaning a little more fun.
Oh, rainbow anything. Rainbow anything makes everything fun, don't you think, Robin? I think all cleaning supplies should be rainbow colored then, because, yeah, let's just make cleaning more fun in general. So this is Abandoned Coral. This is not currently available on the site. I'm sure it'll get restocked at some point, but those three colors work really well together. And I'm just going to use this one to give us a little more depth again.
Dawn says she loves the stencil.
Isn't it beautiful? I love this stencil too. I might have mentioned that peonies were my favorite when it was getting designed. Might have said a little something. Just because they are just gorgeous. What was that?
When I got to pick 3 flowers, it was the first one I thought of.
Darren knows me well. He knows I love peonies. He did a great job. Okay. So honestly, I'm not really doing anything very precise. I'm just adding a little color. I make sure I get kind of like in the center, because that I think would be where there would be the most shading. But I'm not getting super technical, so no sweat there. That's just as simple as can be. And we have almost got this one.
Christopher says, good to be married to the lead graphic designer, Brutus Monroes.
All right, so look at how beautiful that is. I mean, it's already absolutely gorgeous. I think this is certainly a home run. I love it. But I think it's fun sometimes to take it to the next level. What do you guys think? So we're gonna just add one more little detail that already, like I said, this is beautiful all by itself, and I would totally use that just how it is. But I just want to show you that you have options. You don't have to only use ink when you're doing layered stencils. I mean, obviously you have to put some thought into how you're doing your layers and what's going to layer on top of other things. But yeah, mix it up. Add some of our fun glazes. We're going to use some glitter glaze on top of ours, but we're going to get that detail stencil layer back in here. And we don't even need to mask it this time, because we're going to use Fallen Snow. Fallen Snow is a fun... I'm going to do that. That's going to bug me.
Dawn says hi.
Hi, Dawn. Fallen Snow is fun because you can just... It's translucent. Is that the right word? Transparent. But it adds beautiful sparkle. So it's definitely a good staple to have in your glitter glaze arsenal. It is definitely a must-have. If you ask me though, they're all a must-have because I love glitter glaze. Okay, so this is the Fallen Snow. And look at all of that.
Dawn says she loves the stencil.
Absolutely gorgeous. I love this stencil too. Isn't it pretty, Dawn? Okay, so I typically will take a spatula to kind of get it out of the jar, and you may not even need this much. I kind of like to start with a lot. And then we have, actually, I didn't get that one.
Dawn asked, is it clear, sparkly, or white?
It dries clear. It's sparkly though. So it's clear with sparkles. We do also have alabaster though, and that one is a little bit more opaque. That one's more white. So this is the medium mover. It comes in a pack of 3. Let me see if I've got all 3 handy. And I'll just show you. I know I have at least 2 handy. But I don't have the 3rd one with me right now. But you can see this is if you want to like move your medium around and make waves and cool patterns in it. This one's just more of a spatula. This is the one that we're going to use right now. And the other one I think is kind of square if I remember right. So we're going to use this. I actually like the straight edge better. It's probably meant for this, but this works best for me. So this just makes it smooth as can be to add your mediums. Now you have to be a little bit careful. I don't want to go over this. Oh, good. Okay. Christopher said we just got it back in stock. So you don't want to spread too much on this simply because you don't want to run your inks into each other. So if you can do it in a one pass kind of a thing, just be mindful of where your leaves are as opposed to your petals because you don't want to get green in to your pink or whatever coral ink. Does that make sense? Looks like I missed one little spot right there. And I kind of like that it also just naturally darkens up your ink. There we go.
A little bit of glaze goes a long way.
It does. You can see I've got a lot of it left on my spatula, and the only reason why I'm not going to add mine back into my container is because the ink is still so wet that this probably has color in it. But if you wait a little longer than I did, you're probably going to be okay just scraping it back. Always just kind of test it. You don't want to
react with the oxide.
What was that?
Paul asked us to react with the oxide.
Yeah, they do react to the oxide. It's very cool. Okay, so now we're just going to wipe a little bit away before we peel our stencil back. And I do have one that's all dry and ready for you to see that we will use on our card. We will be making...
So pretty.
Who said that?
Taffy.
Thanks, Kathy. I like it too. It's just a fun, easy way to...
We'll be back next week.
Oh, good. The sticky mats will be back next week. The stick and stamp. I have been counting the days. I'm glad you didn't disown me after I killed mine. But I was really just trying to do a product test of what to avoid. Right? I took that bullet for everybody. I bet. There's a lot of people waiting for that. Okay, so look at that. And that's without even showing you what it looks like. Looks like I missed a spot, but that's okay. When it dries, it's not going to make that big of a difference. So let me show you what this looks like when it's dry. I went ahead and I actually fussy cut mine for our card, but look at that. When it dries a little bit darker, as you can see, and just absolutely beautiful. So these are the 2 leaves that are like off of the card. So when we place them on our card.
Hi.
Who said hi?
Joan.
Hi, Joan. So we're going to work on the next part. I just need to wipe off my stencil really quick so that I don't get glitter glaze on everything. But I wanted mine to kind of go off of the card anyway. So I will show you what that's going to look like. Now we've got, this is one of my favorite stencils. This is the stencil of the month this month. And I've already used it a million times because it's just one of those just good background ones. I love all of our stencils too, though. I really do. We have so many fun products. I am continuously inspired because we have so much fun stuff to work with. Now on this, because I don't have the mat right now, I went ahead and I put a little bit of Pixie spray on it earlier, and I'm just using it again. It still has stickiness to it, so I didn't need to reapply it. And then we'll use our Pixie tape to just kind of keep it in place while we're creating. So for our background, I hope I did that up high enough. It's a little bit low, isn't it? Let me move it up a little bit. So now we're just going to make our little background for this. So on this one, I'm going to use the same basic colors of ink for both of the cards that we do, but we'll do this one first. This one, I'm starting with Over the Moon. This is a Simon Hurley ink, of course. All right, so we're just I'm going to start around the edges because, again, like I explained before, sometimes you have some ink that's darker left on your brush, but I think that the last color I used might actually have been the Over the Moon. But since I'm not sure, I'm going to go around the edges first because I always kind of like the edges to be a little bit darker. This color is really pretty. It's really soft. And so one of the things about Simon Hurley ink that I love is that you can go in and layer it and kind of get it darker if you want it a little bit darker. But like I said, sometimes you just need that kind of buttery, soft background color, and this is perfect for that. This is seriously just, it should be named Butter because it just reminds me of butter. But Over the Moon is a lot more original, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to go on to the next color. The next color we're going to use is Slippery When Wet. And this is kind of a mustardy yellow. And this background is going to look a little bit more aged. So we're going to go around the edges with Slippery When Wet and teak it up a little bit. I may go over a little bit, but I'm going to try not to. Once I have this done, we'll just kind of... And then I'm going to go heavily around the center a little bit. Kind of what you want to kind of do is look at where you're going to have your card. And see our flowers are going to come up because we've got those cut off leaves right there, right? So they're going to line up on the edges. And so I kind of want to go dark around where our peonies are going to be, just to give it a little bit of an anchor. And again, this isn't super precise. Have fun with it. Don't get too uptight about it. Just have fun. Crafting is meant to be fun. It's never worth stressing yourself out to the point where it stops being fun. Always good to learn new techniques and to practice and to learn new things, but always remember to have fun. I think I shifted my stencil a little bit, so it's okay because it's going to be a little bit more rustic anyway. So that's kind of good news on this one. Okay, so now we're going to use one more color, and that is Grrr. We're going to go a little light-handed, is that the right word, with this one. So I'm just going to take this and kind of start at the edge. I start kind of off the paper a little bit because then it gives me a little bit of grace as far as seeing where I'm at and making sure that I don't have like a huge amount of ink in one little spot. I'm just going to kind of go around the edges a little bit. Feeling a little more confident now. I'm going to go a little faster. I'm going to kind of just brush it on in a couple little areas. And again, I'm not being super precise. I'm having fun with it. And you know, if I tell you something like, remember to have fun or whatever, it's because I've been there.
Are the inks fast dry inks?
I think all of these ones dry pretty fast. The Distress inks don't dry as fast as the Simon Hurley does. And then I'm just going to kind of tap it a little bit just to give it a little bit of more age.
Pamela says hi.
Who did?
Pamela.
Pamela, hello, how are you? Okay, so we've got our background. Now that we've done that, I want to soften up those edges even more. So I'm just gonna hurry quickly and kind of age those edges up a little bit more. Okay? Because I actually don't want that white line, the little border. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I want the little white border, and sometimes I don't. And on this one, I just don't really want the little white border.
Candy says I love these colors.
They're fun, aren't they? If you really want to go all out, you could even just kind of stamp this on your glass mat, get a little water brush, and flick some of the ink to get even more of a distress going on. But for today, I think this is good. All right. Well, I've got one that is all dry. They're really pretty much the same thing. But I think I'll use this one because I know that the ink is already dry. And then I just have this cardstock from my stash that we're going to use because I was just wanting something to match that coral. And I'm going to use some of our, this I believe is the tissue tape. The Easy Tear tape is awesome. They're pretty similar. They're both really good. Oh, you know what I did? I left that light on that I wasn't going to leave on. I'm going to ask you to see the colors now. I changed the lighting because I keep forgetting to turn that other one off because it really just drowns it out. Now you can see the vibrance a little bit more. Okay, so now we'll just get that centered on our card. Okay, and then I actually thought to put the foam squares on ahead of time so that I could save a little bit of time. But there is something that we need to do first. So I got this really cheap, and I mean cheap, cheaply paid, cheap price. It's just like a hair straightener. And this works great for my ribbons. You know how our ribbons in the inspiration box come on a card? And they always are beautiful. I love the ribbons so much. But sometimes it's hard, like when you have a wider card like this, it's harder to camouflage the little kinks. So we'll just wait for that to heat up for a second. But yeah, so if you have just like an old hair straightener that you're not using, or my cord is not gonna reach all the way to where you can see me straightening it. But if you see a cheap one, or if you get a new one and you have your old one, it's a good thing to have in your craft room for a ribbon. Okay, so it's probably hot enough now. I'm just going to move everything off for a second. And I'm just going to spritz mine a little bit with some water. And then I'm just going to slide it through. Can you hear it sizzle? I know you can't see me do it because my cord isn't long enough, but you can probably hear it. And I'm only doing half, so you'll be able to see the difference. Okay. So here's what I just did. And here's the other half. So you can see it's just nice and easy and fast. So let's put some of that around our card. Let me grab that rose again. Need to see, so the bow is going to look better on that side.
Move that one over a bit.
Thanks, Darren. Darren's keeping me positioned properly. So when you're tying a bow, once you've got the initial tension, it's good to kind of fuss with the tail before you pull the loops all the way tight, if that makes sense. Okay, so this side could probably use a little bit. Let's see if we can get that last little crease out. And you know what? You don't really need to spritz. I'm just trying it without the spritz because this side of the ribbon's pretty dry. The spritz does help a little bit, but I think it'll work without it too. This worked fine. Okay, so let's trim up our ribbon a little bit. We may want to adjust that after we get our rose in there. Or not roses, but our peonies. I may have to switch those in just a second, but for now, let's just get this guy on there. Okay.
Over again, babe.
So I just am going to move that over just a little bit. Okay, so you can kind of just put your bow on an angle, whatever you need to do to kind of make it work. I can just scooch it over just a little bit, but I don't want to, like I said, I've got those little leaves I don't want to interfere with too much. And then we've got our card base. And you know, I wanted to show you the tulips, but it is getting kind of late. So I think what I might do is show you the finished panel, and maybe we can just throw the card together if that's okay. I'll just walk you through the steps of what I did. So as far as the coral goes, we just need to add this to our card base. And then I used sequins from, you can use the Butterfly Wishes sequins. The pink ones, actually, because they're transparent, they work, they kind of take on the coral look to them. But then I also was looking at the ones from the Sugar and Spice kit, the inspiration box that came out in December. And those ones look kind of red or orange, and they ended up being really a good match with the ribbon. So that's what I'm going to end up using. But if you've got either of those, you've got options. Okay. Looks like my son is home from work. Okay, so see, we've got, this is what they look like. This is the Sugar and Spice. And
Candice, I like the idea of comic cups for sequins.
these are the best. I use them all the time. I use them for lots of things, but the sequins, they're perfect for the sequins. They fit all 5 ounces of those sequins just perfectly for me. And then I do have a sentiment for this. Where we're putting it, I'm not sure yet. Let's look and see. And I got my sentiment from, this is from Simon Hurley's stamp set, which is also on our site. This is called Pretty Peonies. Seems fitting, right? And it's just this one right here that says hugs. And I actually liked that it was just a little sentiment where we have so much going on with the flowers. I am terrible about this. I am, like, one of my worst things is planning for my sentiment. I always wait till last, and then I always kind of go, huh. So I'm thinking I might have to cover part of my leaf, which I don't typically do, but you know what? Let's do this. I think I'm gonna like that better. Maybe we'll just move it in here a little bit. And then you can mess with it, but that's basically where we're going with that. I'll glue all that after, because I do want to show you this other one too. So we'll just finish that, and then if you see my sequins in different places when I post the picture on Sunday, then you'll know. I have such a hard time stopping with the fussing, which is why we probably didn't have time for the second card. Okay, so the second one, I did the same thing with the background. I just used the Over the Moon and the Slippery When Wet. I didn't use the brown. And then this is Honeysuckle Cardstock. And then, thank you, Candy. And then this is the Tulip stencil. So on this one, I started with the Overzealous and did this first layer. Let me grab the stencil so I can at least walk you through that part. I started out with this stencil and I used Overzealous, and the reason for that was because I didn't want to overlap the stems when I put this one on. I didn't want them to be kind of funny. So I used the darker green, the fake plant, on the leaves here. And on both of the flowers, I started with Sidewalk chalk, which is a Simon Hurley ink also. And then for the last layer, what I did was I used the new Emma's Pink Glitter Glaze for the tulips. Beautiful. And then I used key lime for the leaves.
Candy says she loves tulips, they're her favorite.
I love tulips too, but I think the reason I love tulips is because my sister loves tulips, and I love my sister so much, so they always make me think of her. And then for sequins on this one, I'm gonna use a Sweetheart sequins. That's the mix I had for that, and we'll probably throw some ribbon on there too. But I'll post both of these on Sunday, and probably I'll have the finished cards on the video that we edit for Sunday as well. So watch for that.
She needs those glitter glazes.
What was that?
Candy said she needs those glitter glazes.
I know, these are beautiful. Look how pretty that key lime shows up on those leaves. I love that. But there's just so much to do with these stencils. Are so pretty. I love them. And the lilac's really fun. The lilac, there's a lot of options you can do to kind of liven it up. You can keep it as simple or as crazy as you want it to. Well, I hope you guys learned something about the layering stencils. And if you haven't tried them, that maybe you're a little braver to try stenciling them out. Try them with some chroma glaze. Try them with some glitter glaze. Like I said, kind of, you might have to let them dry in between. And there's different combinations that could be really interesting. But definitely don't be afraid to play. Your craft room, your craft area, that is your lab and your playroom, and you should always have fun there. I will have something new for you next week, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.